All right. Welcome everyone to the brand new Arbitrary Friends podcast with your hosts, DJ Babyface, Keem, and Killa. So this is brand new. This is our first one. I want to commemorate it today. So we say that this is our first actual recording because a lot of times we don't even say this is your first recording. So it might be years down the line or months down the line. But like, when was the first one? Well, this is the first one. It is what, no, November 6th, I think, 2021.
Yep.
And basically, the purpose of this podcast, we're going to talk about relationships, scenarios, news, current events, sports. And so we welcome, and I'm going to let each of these fellas describe what's going on and give their own, input. My name is DJ Babyface. We are all from South Carolina, but we live in Atlanta right now, and I'm a DJ slash I work in finance, and we different personalities. So I'm gonna shut up, let these boys talk.
All right. My name is Hakeem. I'm also a DJ Quavo. I work in IT. I'm 40 odd so years old, and I've been married for about 3 years. We stay on the north side of Atlanta, and HBCU grad, SC State. I think I got a lot to say, so I'm gonna keep it going. And Eugene, you're up next.
Yeah, so I'm Eugene, uh, better known as Killa from back in the day. I go by my legal name these days though, but some of my friends, these guys right here, they still call me Killa. So yes, I'll be known as that on the show. But yeah, as Keith alluded, from Columbia, South Carolina. Been here in Atlanta for about since 2004 actually. So what, 17 years, which is crazy. Also in IT slash finance, and yeah, just looking forward to just having just an escape to get away from the daily grind that is work, and have a on camera chat with these guys just about various topics. And I guess we could just kind of start off. Uh, a lot of people probably wanting to know, how do we even come up with the name Arbitrary Friends? The word arbitrary is not something you kind of hear on a regular basis. So I guess if any one of you guys want to, I guess, let the people know, how do we actually come up with the name Arbitrary? I think it's a dope name, by the way, but how do we actually come up with it?
And I'll jump in here. So basically, the term arbitrary friend basically is a friend that you cool with them, but you ain't really that cool. You may not know about them as much as you thought you know about them. Like, these are the folks you see at
Mhm.
homecoming. You happy to see these people, but you might not even know their name. It might be Pookie over there,
Yeah.
or Junebug, from playing in spades by the calf. Yeah, what's his real name? I don't know, but it's love every time you see him. So we're gonna bring each friend. It might be a guest on the show, or arbitrary friend. It's a joke more than anything, but it's just still showing like an associate of friend, and it also can grow to be real friends later on in life. So that's what we pretty much where the name comes from. So today we got about four topics for you. And then the first, we're gonna talk about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, everything that's been going on with them. Also, we're gonna talk about Travis Scott. More, this is breaking news today. As of today, Travis Scott Astro World concert. 8 people dead, 23 injured, and a host of others that's being treated. And then also Henry Ruggs DUI story. We did have a last story, but we're gonna probably come back to that next time. So let's just say three topics today. But I'm gonna let Keem start off. We're gonna talk about Will and Jada. You can take it from there and let them know. Basically, and just to put it out there, everybody knows more recently in the news, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith have been, what, based off of Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk. She's been pretty much throwing Will under the bus, and I basically more recently said her, sex life isn't good, and she might have taken him when she might have got with him because she felt like broken, and he saw something in her that she didn't see within herself, and but pretty much saying she's not happy without saying I'm not happy. And people are saying now they're getting fed up. Even women are saying leave, run from Jada Pickett. Will Smith ain't really commenting on it. And the truth of the matter is, you thought you looked up to this couple as this like they got it together, but I'm not so sold on it. I ain't never been really sold on it. That's just my opinion. I'm gonna let y'all talk, and I'm gonna come back in a little later on it.
I mean, just to piggyback off that, I mean, the problem is people always look at marriage as being this fairy tale and hey, Ken and Barbie or Cinderella and the Prince. I mean, they've been married for probably what 20, maybe 30 years. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you love that person, but you may not necessarily like that person, and to the point. And we've always put people on, especially celebrities, on pedestals, And I think they probably got together very young, and I believe that she's basically at the point where she probably wants some other some outside, and he probably wants some outside, and I think they probably done that. So and he said basically it's not his job to basically make her happy. Happiness comes from within, and you can give her the world. I mean, these people are very, very, very rich. They can get whatever they want to get. But if she's not happy with inside of her, there's really nothing that Will can do to help that. And that's what he was saying. So he said their relationship is like a seed and ground, the ground and the seed. So there isn't a like the traditional relationship is like, the man leads the family, the woman normally follows. But he's saying in their relationship it's more 50-50 split. He's the seed, she can be the seed or he can be the ground. It doesn't matter as long as they bear fruit. So he was saying that it's not his job to please her. It's up to her to find her happiness within herself. But then she's throwing him in the bus saying, hey, the sex, you know, you got to teach somebody to do this, teach somebody to do this. But the problem with that is women expect men to read their minds. If you don't like something, say you don't like something. If you want me to do this, tell me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't assume that somebody knows, especially if y'all should experiment that during your dating phase. You can't say 30 years down the line, hey, you haven't been pleasing me. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, come to me with that instead of coming to the media with that. That's my point on that. Eugene?
So is she saying that that's where they're at present day, or is that's been going on as far as her not being pleased over X amount of years or time? What exactly is she saying? Because that's very different. I mean, is she saying where he doesn't? We've heard the term love language, right? Is she
Mm-hmm.
saying that they're not on the same page? Like he doesn't get her sexual language, or if that's even a phrase, but are they just having issues with that? I guess over time things have changed, just like any relationship, right? But
Yeah.
have they lost their quote unquote mojo in the bedroom? Is that what she's saying? I mean, and that's
Well,
a hypothetical question, or shall I say a rhetorical question? I guess what I would say is I agree with you. I wouldn't put that out on Front Street for the world to know. I think that's a conversation you have behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely know if I was in his shoes, I would be pretty ticked off. I mean, you just pretty much open our bedroom to the world to see, which they kind of do anyway.
Yeah.
Agree. They've made comments in the past about having an open relationship. Uh, but again, I mean, yeah, I agree with you as far as a lot of times we in normal society, we always put these celebrities up on a pedestal as if they can't do any wrong, but that's totally not the case. They're obviously human beings just like each and every one of us. So we should expect for them to go through the same issues that we do on a day-to-day basis. So but I don't know. I personally, I mean, if he's not satisfying her anymore, I mean, as far as his point of him saying that it's not his job or duty to please her, uh, I mean, yeah, the answer that he gave is kind of technically probably correct, but it's kind of cheesy if you ask me. I mean, yeah, it's not my job to please my woman. That's her to find that within. Yeah, that's kind of a canned answer. That sounds like a interview. That sounds like a question out type of question out I'll answer on a job interview. You know, uh, I wouldn't necessarily say that in real life. I mean, are you gonna say that to your wife, to your lady? Are you gonna actually say, yeah, it's not my job to please you? Would you actually say that to her directly?
I mean, he might be already checking out of this relationship. We don't know. They already said that. Remember that first Red Table Talk? Was it bad marriage for life? So if he's content with having a bad marriage with her and he don't want to leave her, maybe they afraid they gonna lose too much money together because he's gonna obviously lose more money than her because he's
Right.
worth more than her, financially based off his projects and all the if you want to compare acting careers or just music and all. And you know, I blame Will to a certain degree. I blame, is he chose her. In my opinion, I never thought they looked right together. And like, the Godfather Kevin Samuel made a video about talking about how they just don't look good together a lot of times. Every time you see them on the red carpet, she like barely up on him. He's like displaying her to the world. And he's right. When they together, it's like she's always standing there looking awkward and he looks like he's all into her, and that could be reflection. If she was never really into him, it don't matter what he do. He done
Right.
married the lady, they done had 2 kids together. She chose to throw him on the bus for the public to see, and because he ain't never really spoke about her like that. She came out with the August Alsina scandal, entanglement, and
Mm-hmm.
then now saying she, she had to. He should read her mind. She wasn't happy with him along with a host of other things, and here he is on the other end of the spectrum, talk about, how he was thinking about suicide or killing his dad.
Right. Right.
That it has nothing to do with his relationship. It's like he's
Right.
avoiding it. And
Right.
even the kids might have spoken more recently spoken about how they didn't like her going public with this information. So in my opinion, she's not happy. I don't know what it is, why she wanted to stay. But she probably ain't going nowhere because both of them probably content. Me personally, I feel like Will Smith is gonna get out, be happy. You both got your kids, you can still be cordial, or
Do
just
you
get out there and be out.
do you think she I mean, do you think initially she was, I mean, Will was basically more into her than she was basically, into him. Do you
Yep,
think do you
I
think
thought they
his
said that.
celebrity, you think his celebrity kind of pushed her over the top? You think?
Yeah, because I mean, I say it like this. Think about this. She was into Tupac. She wasn't into Will Smith,
Right. Right.
and she might have liked him, but it's like okay, they both was all the three of them might have been around each other. She might have been entertaining Will, but she was in love with Tupac. And after he died, Will probably was the shoulder to cry on,
He was
based off the time.
probably.
And so he wanted to lock her in. He ain't had to worry about Tupac no more. Supposedly, deep down, he had to worry about it psychologically and emotionally, but
I
he
mean, but
can't really worry about it.
she always said Tupac was just her friend. She never really said that hey, they had a relationship.
But it's obvious, it's clear that it was way more to it than that. So you could tell in
But she said,
the manner in which she speaks about Pac and that
Yeah.
relationship they
I mean,
had
yeah.
something.
I thought she said she dated him.
No,
So it
she
can't
said
be
Pac was
just a friend.
always her Pac. She said Pac had the biggest crush on her, and they were always, because the Pac she knew was a different Pac. That's from the childhood Pac when he was in high school. He
Well, they
wasn't.
both went to the Baltimore School of the
Yeah,
Arts, correct? So
performing
yeah,
art school. Yeah, so he was
yeah.
more. She said he was more of a shy. He was a poet. He wasn't the Pac that to this day. And she said he had the biggest crush on her, but he never really like came at her on like, okay, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. It was more like, okay, you my best bud, but she probably secretly probably had feelings for him, you know, but she probably wanted him to step up to the plate and he just wasn't ready at that point. And then when he became the biggest famous rapper, Will Smith was already kind of you know, in the picture. So and then he passed. So suddenly,
Okay, I had to look it up real quick. So they said she never admitted them having a sexual relationship.
yeah.
And he said his quote was he was insecure. He wasn't man enough to handle that relationship. But like you
Yeah.
said, it could have been just a childhood crush, but maybe she liked him more than she said she did, and especially after he became, because growing up when they in school, yeah,
You don't know who you
Tupac,
are yet. Yeah, you don't know who you are yet. When
yeah.
you
But
a young
when he
kid,
became Death Row #1 selling
right,
rap artist
right.
Tupac,
This Tupac.
Thug Life, that might have
Yeah,
changed the way
yeah.
she viewed him.
She
And
probably viewed
then
him a different way. Yeah.
meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum is Will Smith with parents just don't understand, and summertime and just starting to get Fresh Prince of Bel Air, so he didn't blow up just yet. So the comparison is there, and like I said, he might have been a show to cry on, but she might have felt like she settled for somebody, and he, was fresh out of a marriage, and
Yeah, they both probably
I don't,
still.
it's hard to call, man, but at the same time, I just feel like, in my opinion, I can't tell nobody to get divorced, but I could tell you, if you ain't happy, maybe it's time to move on. You got two
But
kids together, and you filthy rich, so it ain't like
yeah, but
us regular people, losing half of your shit is different when you got half of millions, because he could
yeah,
recover easily.
but I mean, the problem is with the younger people now with marriages, everybody runs away. Like if you're not happy now, that doesn't necessarily even mean that you're not going to be happy later. You know what I'm saying? They just probably need to talk about it. That's the issue. You
They
know,
did talking about it, and they've been talking
no,
about it.
I mean they've been talking to us. They haven't. I don't necessarily believe that they've been talking to each other. It's more of he's probably upset that she's putting everything on Front Street. He's like, well, if you're feeling this way, why try to? It seems like she trying to sell her platform more than saving their marriage. You know what I'm saying? It's more like we're rich. We don't have to. You don't have to try to make your platform to be this over the marriage. It seems like she's just putting all this stuff on the red table talk to build that up, and then not necessarily putting that same effort into their marriage. I mean, just from the outside looking at it, I don't know any intimate details about anything referring to their marriage, but just on the outside looking in, it looks like she's more concerned about the red table talk and putting all their business out instead of saying, okay, we need to talk about, okay, if you're unhappy with this, let me know that you're unhappy with that, and then I can kind of figure out what we can do to make that situation better. What do you think, Eugene?
Just kind of curious. I always kind of, when these celebrities put certain information out there, I'm always kind of skeptical, just wondering if this is calculated. Just wondering if they've had that conversation behind the scenes. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going on my show, I'm gonna say this, it's gonna evoke this certain reaction. Therefore, because if you remember when Beyonce, I think when she put out the Lemonade album, a lot of people, that was kind of speculation, like, hey, she every celebrity kind of has a what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of have a situation where it's a negative, a big negative story, right? A big, for lack of a better word. And she didn't really have that. They didn't really have that about their relationship. So a lot of people was kind of wondering, was that something they purposely put out? Like, because, and then years later, they may say, well, this, being creative is all about entertainment. We're entertainers first and foremost. So it's like a lot of times we take it for just face value as that's supposed to be the truth, but in reality, it's all exaggerated content.
Mm-hmm.
But
And sometimes artists they actually will say that. I forget who. It's a few of them have said that in the past, and like years later, they came back and say, well, that article I did or that book I wrote years past, that was all fictional, but we took it as if it was facts, in present time. But they
it could have
said,
been fishing, or it might have been backtracking. I didn't they say, like, for instance, that Lemonade. I thought Beyonce, they stated this. Some of it was based off the situation her and Jay-Z went through, where he was cheating on her. And remember the whole situation with him and her and Solange in the elevator. I thought that was when it hit the fan, and when they really found out. The whole, and then matter of fact, what was the lyric in the song with the Becky with the good hair? That was off Lemonade album, right?
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah, some truth to it. It might not be a lot. It probably was still calculated that it was put out there, but I thought there was some truth to that.
Yeah, it probably was some truth to it. It just you just wonder, and because like even I'd be wondering about that with that just not to change topics too much, but even with Skip Bayless, I'd be wondering, does he really hate LeBron that much? Or we know it's just ratings. They literally talk about LeBron and the Lakers every day. Like that was I went on there the other day. I don't even really watch the show anymore. I usually and I hate that because I like Shannon Sharp a lot, but I don't even really watch the show anymore.
Criminal.
Skip Bayless. I'll try to fast forward, if they have a special guest on there or something like Chris Broussard, he kind of brings some good contrast to the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I went on there the other day just to see if they were going to start off the show talking about the Braves winning the World Series since '95. You know what they started the show off with? The Lakers,
LeBron
LeBron.
blowing that lead.
I fast
What?
forwarded. I just DVR'd. So I fast forwarded through the whole show. Not one time did they even mention the Braves winning the World Series. Same with First Take. Are you kidding me? So
In
I think
Spanish.
so. Back to what I was saying. Back to the topic. So I think I don't even think he believes half of the stuff he says about LeBron, and I think a lot of this stuff is just
It's
clickbait,
entertainment. At the end of the
entertainment.
day, at
And
the end of the day,
I just wondering about that Jada. What about that Jada and Will thing? I think he totally he knows what she's going to say. At least some of the stuff. Some of the stuff is her impromptu, right? Going off of the dome, but a lot of that stuff, I think he's fully aware of it. To be honest, of course,
well,
we don't know that, but that's
I'll
just
say
my
like
opinion.
this: with so much information coming out there, like let me address your Skip Bayless thing because I like Skip and but I do think it's funny
Of
because
course you do.
I'm not a LeBron fan.
LeBron
However,
hater. Of
I
course you do.
I'm not a hater. I respect the game, but I'm not like Skip just doing entertainment. So I don't think he hates LeBron at all. But it is entertainment, and you talk about a nationally syndicated show that they probably bringing in. You got to talk about it. And then at that time, when you talk about they blew that lead, so they lost, and then he's hurt now. But he'll be back soon. But I feel like a lot of that is entertainment. However,
Sure.
when you talk with the Will and Jada thing, what I'm thinking more of, the more they putting this information out, they could have something. Either she's really trying to grow Red Table Talk, or they're about to drop. They're together. They're gonna drop something. Me personally, this is the most they ever done it, and it could be because of this is a cause and effect based or consequence for her starting Red Table Talk. So now this information is coming out where it's been hidden before, and we don't know the end game on this situation.
Yeah.
They could
Yeah.
split. They could just he might already know about it, like you said, but there's a strong possibility that he's fed up. But you could talk. It's just like any other relationship, man. They toxic and they're not doing well. You can tell them, hey, you need to go ahead and go your own way, and then ultimately they'll still end up together, sticking it out, even though they know this relationship ain't going nowhere. Plenty of us have done that,
My
and that could
grandparents.
be,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
we've seen older relationships where like your grandparents, or you seen people from different countries, like my family's from Nigeria. Like they don't believe in divorce. You know what I'm saying? They if you made that sacrifice in front of God, hey, you got to figure it out. You sleep in separate bedrooms, or have you a mistress, or whatever you got to do to sustain whatever happiness that you want in life. But at the end of the day, I mean, since it's a new generation, it's more of, okay, if that person is not giving me what I need, then it's time for me to move on and find happiness with somebody else, or just find happiness by myself. Because at the end of the day, life is too short. COVID has showed us that you can be here today and gone tomorrow. So why stress? Why keep yourself in this stressful situation where you may take years off of your life being in this particular relationship, instead of just saying, hey, I love you, you love me, but at the end of the day, we don't work. So let's just love each other from afar. Let's just be parents of our kids, and then go from there. That's what I think they should do. But knowing Will and knowing the public eye, I think he's gonna probably stay. I think he's gonna stay.
Okay, with that being said, we're gonna go into our second topic of the day. This is breaking news brought to you by Killa and CNN. Basically, this is today.
Killer
Well,
and
I guess Killa, you ain't know he was inside of CNN. So basically, at a Travis Scott concert, 8 people were killed, and this is reported by CNN. 8 people were killed and scores injured when a crowd surged towards the stage at the Houston Music Festival on Friday night, which is last night, and it squeezed audience members who had pretty much it was squeezing them to death, where they just pretty much got pressed in, and some of them didn't have nowhere to go. 23 people were injured. 300 people went to the doctor. They couldn't, like, the people were saying they couldn't breathe. It's about 50,000 people were there, and not only to mention, we had another situation uh, where there was a VIP entrance, and like 300 people tried to rush the entrance to get past security. Security was pushing people down and trying to put them back. And so it was a little out of control. And I don't know if y'all ever been to a concert when you're up on the front row of the festival, man. It's tight. And people, if you're on this, like right by the stage, they will push toward the stage and you got to
mm,
push back.
mhm,
So
mhm.
if enough people are pushing towards trying to get closer and it's getting packed in like sardines, you could easily lose breath. And that was what happened to one young lady. She felt like she couldn't breathe. And some people got trampled and that's how they died. So, or at least that's what they're saying, the way they died. And I, you know, I don't like being up close like that to any concert. And plus, like every time I'm at a concert, it's a bad situation. I'll be ready to fight people and stuff. I don't want to start swinging on the crowd. I'll be that guy. Yeah, throw me out of there. I ain't gonna go into details about my last incident, but just know it's not. It's been a long time since I've been to a concert like that. I'd rather just pay for a VIP booth or whatnot at that point. But what are y'all opinions on this? Killa, you brought this up story. What do you think about that? When last time you been at a concert, and what's going to be the outcome of this situation, especially for these concerts?
Man, I mean, how can you control it though? I mean, um, I mean, were they just breaking down barricades? Was it just a mad, like I understand there was a mad rush, but like far as I'm just curious as how can you control that was in an outdoor setting, with that many people. I mean, I'm sure they had adequate security, but I know that's going to be the main thing that people are going to bring up. Did they have adequate security? Well, what's defined as
Yeah,
adequate security for that that large of a crowd? What was it, about 50,000? I
yeah,
think
50,000.
50,000,
talking before the show,
roughly.
the stadium holds like 70,000, so it's almost the
Yeah.
full capacity at the Texan Stadium.
Texas Stadium.
So wow, that's tough. I mean, that's tough. I really just don't know how you control the crowds in that situation. Uh, that's kind of above my head, but I don't know. I have to defer to you on that one, Akeem.
I mean, the question is, normally they would barricade, based on your ticketing. So at this particular point, if you're in front of the stage, then that's that ticket, and then they have a barricade there, and then have another barricade for people here, and then have another barricade for people here, and maybe and so on. So the problem is if there's this one barricade for the VIPs, I guess these are the people that are probably on the field and right in front of the stage. Everybody else are probably in the stands around the stage, right? So if these
I I don't think it was like that. I think
you don't think it was like that,
I think first come first serve who can get close to the stage, and then
see,
basically what it
and
was
that's the
reporting.
problem. That's the problem. Because so if you have one big VIP area, right, that's in front of the stage, and there's a gate in front of the stage, and then there's a gate behind you, all
It
these
doesn't
people
matter.
can
They're
push.
gonna rush that, man.
You
They're gonna
see,
rush.
and
These are
that's
kids, man.
yeah, and that's the problem. You can't have just one big area. You got to separate people so they don't crush each other. You got to say if you have tickets here, if you're paying the high top dollar tickets, what $500 maybe per ticket, $1,000 per ticket, and y'all up front where y'all can see him, like So y'all need to have a barrier between those other people that are paying $200, $300, and then the people that are paying $100 to $200. You know what I'm saying? You need to have a barrier. You can't have this one big area, because at some point those people are going to say, "I want a closer look," and they're going to keep pushing for it. They're going to keep pushing for it, and the people that are that's all the way in the front, they're gonna get squished. They're gonna get and that's
And
that's the problem.
I think the problem with this one in particular, where I hear what you're saying, I don't think it's gonna work because these people in particular just rush the gate
Yeah,
anyway.
but if you have a
So
barrier
who's to say they're
between,
not gonna do it? Who's to say they're not gonna just kick over the barrier and push over and
no,
step
no,
over?
normally there's a gate. Well, I mean, they can
I know
jump the
you're talking.
barrier. They
Yeah,
they, they can
They can
jump the barrier,
they can still jump the barrier.
but you should have security guards right there between each barrier. The
I
families of,
mean,
of those of those victims are going to sue. They're going to sue the stadium. They're going to sue Travis Scott. They're going to sue the security company for not having adequate security, safe environment for stampedes. Because normally, when you have events these particular size, you have to factor in the crazy drunk people that's going to want to get a closer view. You know what I'm saying? You have to have something, because because Rolling Loud has almost 100,000 people. Rolling Loud in Florida, I mean, Rolling Loud in Miami, Rolling Loud in New York has 100,000 people where you can see, when they look out on the crowd, you see people from going out almost a mile. You know what I'm saying? So why didn't this happen there? You know what I'm saying? They have the security to say, okay, we gonna block people off. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna have everybody in one little area pushing forward. You know what I'm saying?
So
That's
there's a barricade at Rolling Loud.
Yeah, they
There's
they
a
have different sections where you can, when you get your ticket, you have different sections where you go in, and then people behind you are in, you in the barricade, people behind you are in the barricade, people beside you in the barricade, because they understand that if you got 100,000 people, and then people are drinking, smoking, whatever, they're gonna want to get a closer view, so they're gonna push forward. We've seen that when doing the concerts at State, when we're all on the floor at SHM. Remember
I
when
guess
Project?
I guess I would look at his previous concerts. This is the first time this happened. That I would look at his previous concerts. What was different with the security? Because
Right, right.
wasn't his last concert at the same stadium or
Last year, I think this is this. He started this festival last year. The
okay? Where
yeah,
was that? Was that at the Texas
yeah,
Stadium?
it was still at the Texas Stadium. Yeah,
So I would look at what did they do then versus now.
right, right.
If
Something
there,
had to
if there was
change.
something that changed, then yeah, they gonna be in some hot water. But if it was pretty much consistent with last year's approach from a security standpoint, then that might be kind of tough to just put all the blame on them if they did the same thing last year
I
and they
mean,
did.
it's going to be blame all around.
It's
Travis
gonna be
Scott,
blame all around, of course.
yeah, the venue and the security. They're going to sue. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, these kids lost their life.
Yeah,
And the problem is, how can you really? Unless you basically plan for everything, there's not. I mean, and you still may have some things that may happen. So I mean, it's unfortunately going to these concerts. You have to keep your head on a swivel, because
right.
you never know. I mean, in our days, we had to worry about somebody shooting up the place.
Yeah,
Now the newer thing is you worried about the people getting stampede. You remember we used to always talking about rush the door in college? We didn't realize that people could die from that. You know what I'm saying?
easily.
Yeah, we didn't realize that. We were just saying, hey,
Don't think
let's,
about the consequences when you're younger. You don't
yeah,
think about what could go wrong when you're younger.
and
That
and
only
that's
happens
what,
with age and wisdom.
yeah, and that's what basically happened. People were like, let's just see if we can get a closer look. Let's just see, and then once once somebody starts it, and then everybody else wants to follow. Well, one monkey don't start no show, so everybody starts pushing forward, and you know, unfortunately, some people lost their lives.
yeah. All right. So from there, we're gonna move on to our last topic for the day. And speaking of losing lives and just bad decisions all around, it goes to NFL. Uh,
Wide
about to
receiver.
say I'm about to say Los Angeles Raiders, but I gotta set my tone and know that they are in
Las
Vegas
Vegas.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Vegas Raiders. Henry Ruggs the third. Driving 156 miles per hour, crashes his car, injuring I think is his girlfriend and killing a 23-year-old girl. Um, and I mean it's tragic. It's sad. It was it's messed up all the way around, and now he's facing up to 40 years in jail
40 years.
for a DUI murder. And the thing is, depends on the state, and he's going to do some jail time, just so you know, because based off Nevada law, probation is out of the question. It carries at least 2 years on the minimum, up to
Mm-hmm.
40 years
Mm-hmm.
because of this DUI. And so DUI murder charge, had it been another state, like maybe even Georgia, you might get, or even I'm gonna say South Carolina in particular, he could have went home for probation and you
Yeah.
may not even get a charge at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
but he's gonna get some repercussions for that, some serious ones too, because he's probably going to end up going serving some time. I'm sure the family is going to sue. Along with all his host of injuries. I think he was up for a contract. I don't know if he was re-signed a contract. I thought this was a
No, he
contract
was
year for
on
him.
he was on the rookie deal. He was on
Yeah,
the
so
rookie
this was
deal.
I thought he's not a rookie this year. I thought
No,
he already
he's
been
the
there.
second. This is
Second year.
second year. Second year. So
So
he
he would have been
signed.
signing a contract next year.
No. The rookie deal is 4 to 5 years.
Oh,
They
okay.
they can pick up your fifth year option. So he signed. He got the signing bonus of 9.6 million, which is
Mm,
that's all he's basically guaranteed. And his
yeah,
net salary per year is 1.3 with a couple of incentives that can probably push it to 2 million. So what he basically his probably net worth is after 9.6. If you do the taxes, the lawyer fees, the agent fees, he probably got about $6 or $7 million. So that's what his salary. I mean that's what his probably net worth is.
yeah.
So
And it's crazy because it's funny you say that because the prosecutor wanted his bail to be $1 million, but they actually denied it, and so his bond is only 150,000, which is great. So he gets to go home for right now.
we pay 10% of that, so he can go home for
Yeah,
10,000. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean that's only it's a lot of money to me, 50 in
yeah. I
taxes.
mean, I mean, 10
Just
bands is a lot of
or you
money.
still
That's
might
the
go to you
car.
probably still going to jail, but he was leaving Top Golf, speeding down the
Oh, he went to
highway.
Top Golf. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they said he took a bunch of shots, and I just feel like this is so unnecessary, because I hate crazy drivers anyway, people that speeding and flying through traffic. That bothers me, and what really bothers me, I don't know if y'all knew this, but the NFL back in 2012 put in place a ride share program for
Yeah,
athletes.
yeah.
So all he had to do is call them.
Call, no
They would have
questions
took him
asked.
home.
No
No
questions
question.
asked.
He would be no fault, even if it happened, because he wouldn't have been at fault. He can go back living his life. So
Okay. All right, but okay. I can't. I can't necessarily judge him because in college, trust and believe, God has brought me home. Probably, I can't speak for you guys, but God has brought me home many times. And my first couple of years here in Atlanta, God has brought me home many times. So DUIs are so tough, and it's hard to judge because unfortunately, when you're drinking and having a good time, you feel invincible. You feel invincible. And I was talking to my wife, a couple of days ago about this situation, and she was saying, why didn't his lady say, "Baby, you ain't ready to drive. Let's just take a Uber."
she was drunk too.
Right, and
Well,
that's what I told her. I was like, well, she's probably been feeling good too, and they're young. They're not in the age like for us.
you're not
We
taking
know,
or
we know. Hey, yeah, we gonna take a Uber because we've has years and years of wisdom. But when you're in your 20s, you feel as though that you're invincible. So he's saying, "Hey, I had a couple of drinks. I can get in my car and go home." But the problem is, you're driving a souped up vet. I'm driving a Jeep Cherokee. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference when you're in a souped up vet when you can go 0 to 60 in 1.2 seconds. You know, so that's the difference. And then one of the guys on the radio that played professional football, he said the first once he got out of the once he got drafted, he said he wanted to buy a Lamborghini. He's like, that was my ever since I was a kid, I wanted to buy a Lamborghini. And he said when he first got in the Lamborghini and first drove it, he says just the power of that vehicle scared the crap out of him. And he says a lot of these young players, they buy these high-end cars and they just got their license maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
He's only
17,
22.
right? You
He's
just
only
got your
22.
license maybe 5 years ago. Maybe 6 years ago. Maybe got it at 16. So you're not an experienced driver as somebody in their late 20s or maybe going into their early 30s to handle that type of power. You know what I'm saying? And even if you're not drunk, he says many times he almost lost control of that vehicle because you're in a Lambo, so you want to stretch your legs. You're in a vet, you want to stretch your legs. You want to see how fast you can go. And he said, unfortunately, these situations happens a lot when you're young and you're a millionaire and you think the world is your oyster. So I mean, I can't necessarily judge him because who knows if I wasn't lucky, I could have been in that same situation because
We all
God has took me home many of times where I had to pray and say thank you Jesus for allowing me to get home. What do you think, Eugene?
no, we all could have. I mean, it's just a matter of when, really. The more and more times you drive drunk, it's just a matter of when,
When,
not if.
yeah,
And
if and
that
when.
was, it just so happened it happened for him at a very early age. And like you said, for us, we just been very fortunate for that to has never happened. But yeah, plenty of times where it easily could have gone astray. I remember when several times. I remember one instance in particular when we were on our way, taking a college road trip, and we were on the interstate, and a guy, he was clearly driving drunk. He was swerving for probably like the last mile and a half, and we were trying to avoid him, and he literally probably within a few feet of clipping our rear end. If he would have clipped us, we probably would have went over the bridge.
Oh wow.
That would have been, it was four of us in the car at the time, right? But like you said, a man above just had it for us. And I think he was fine as well. He ended up, I think, sliding into a ditch instead of into oncoming traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So the driver, so he was lucky or very blessed that night as well, but he was clearly drunk. And so there's been plenty of times where we've been able to escape that. But so I definitely will never judge this young man for making a mistake that in your 20s. I mean, you're not, like I said earlier, you're not thinking about what could go wrong. You're always thinking that everything's going to go right. Really, you're not
Mm-hmm.
even thinking at all. You're just living life, having
Mm-hmm.
considered fun, right? And then for the young lady, I don't know if that was his girlfriend or whoever that was.
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
his girlfriend, childhood girlfriend.
she's in that same mindset. They're in the same age, same train of thought. She's just trying to have a good time. This sounds like fun. It seems like fun. We've done it a million times.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've probably been doing that several times. That wasn't the first time he's been speeding. That was just the first time he got caught and something happened.
Right.
And unfortunately, that lady had to lose her life, and the dog got killed from what I understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just awful, man. The Raiders, man. I mean, I saw something. There was another incident, but we're not going to get into that. Where another player, I guess they're bringing up, where he apparently got into an accident, uh, like I think last year. Another guy, and that was on Twitter last night, I believe. I didn't really look too much into it because I knew we weren't going to discuss
Josh
that.
Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs,
Uh,
they're running back. They're
not,
running back
not
from
Josh
Baylor.
Jacobs. It was another guy. It's another guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's another guy. I never even heard of him. I never even heard this player. So, but just awful all around, man. Awful all around. I know a few people personally that have gotten DUIs, and yeah, it's just it definitely. And they luckily for them, they've rehabilitated. They've changed their mindset. They do take Uber. Um, they limit the amount of drinks they have in public, and these are people from back home actually that we've had those conversations with. But that's just because they do have that age and they have had those close calls, and it was just they got luckily it was just a DUI and not DUI with death, but
Mm-hmm.
so they were able to avoid those tragic situations,
Mm-hmm.
unlike
Mm-hmm.
drugs. So yeah, but I'm not here to judge anyone for sure, because we've all been guilty of driving drunk at some point, or
Yeah.
tips,
Yeah.
whatever. Yep.
True. And I don't think I'm not the best driver when it comes to me drinking. However, I usually don't like to drink that much in the first place, as y'all already know. And driving drunk is another thing. I don't really do it that often, but I've done it. Got home pretty good. I hold it pretty well together, but I don't like to do it. So I'm really good about stuff, especially now. I'm really good about taking Uber, even though I hate paying for it, but I just rather just give them that money and be done with it, And when I come back to circle back around to, like I said, it's really unfortunate because you think about a good career about to go down the drain. And financially he might be all right. We don't know what kind of lawyer fees they're gonna deal with, and
It's
like
gonna be real tough. It's gonna be
even if
real
he
tough.
gets yeah, because he's probably not getting off, and even if he does, civil suit's gonna come out of nowhere, and he's not gonna win now
Yeah.
because of how it happened or what happened. So I don't know. I don't think charges will be dropped. We just don't know all the circumstances. We don't really know much about the victim other than she was 23 years old. It seemed like a nice person, and the family don't want to comment about it.
Yeah.
And but that's besides the point. But yeah, this is our current events. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. And I'm just gonna do this. This is our first recording once again. What is it? November 6th? Is that what the date is? Or maybe the 7th? I don't know.
It's
Whatever.
the yeah. Well,
It's the 6th. It's a November 6th. Okay.
November
This is
6th. Well, wait.
this is our first recording November
Before you
6th. We're
wrap
gonna
up, before you wrap up, let's
yeah.
give a shout out to our Atlanta Braves
Oh
for
yeah.
winning the World Series, to bringing a championship home to Atlanta, because we've always been so close, but no cigar. And the Braves showed that, hey, this city is not cursed. This city can win championships. We just got to get the right people in the right places. So I like the way the Hawks look. They're young. They're vibrant. The Falcons, they still have some question marks that they would need to address. The Matt Ryan situation, the defense situation, the Calvin Ridley situation. But it feels good for the city, because it's been a long time since this city had any type of thing to be to cheer for, since the Braves. And being that we're all from South Carolina, we all grew up in Braves country, so it feels like this has been a win for the South more than a win for the city of Atlanta. So I just want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to the Braves.
That's what's up. And yeah, hopefully I do strongly believe they were cursed for a minute, but in
The
my
city
opinion,
was.
they probably came from a Saints fan, to be honest with you. And they played it. It's funny enough, they played the Saints this weekend. So
Yeah, so beat up on the
now,
Saints.
yeah, well, the Saints got a better record, but they got their own issues. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, they did use voodoo on all the Atlanta sports. That means the voodoo curse would have worn off, and it would hit New Orleans even worse. But then again, New Orleans got hit with other little issues. So supposedly,
Hurricanes.
yeah.
Right.
So that would be how voodoo works. If that is true, hopefully that is not, and just luck of the draw that a team just sucks on occasion. And they definitely made some very poor decisions when it comes, especially the Falcons, from the team, and just bad luck all the way around. Because who would have predicted Calvin really would leave for mental issues, mental health issues. And then they didn't make any moves at the trade, but they got a lot of draft picks. So hopefully they draft. But now you got UGA, who is right now currently
Oh,
killing Missouri. looking like number one college team in the country. So that might be 2 championships in 1 year if they play their cards right. We'll see about that, because I always say near the end, that's when they kind of get funny acting. But I haven't seen a more complete team this year
Yeah,
than
Georgia.
UGA.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
look
but
good.
they still got to get past Alabama at the end of the day. I feel like that's their test. I think they will, and I don't think it's gonna be close, but it got to happen. But other than that, I was gonna say this. Going to wrap this up, and we will be posting. And if you're looking at this video, like, subscribe, and share to a friend so we can grow this page. This is the first one, so we're gonna try to do this a few times a week, or once or twice at least, or once a week at least. And but we want to grow this channel, so please follow us on Arbitrary Friends Network and on YouTube. Our Arbitrary Friends channel on YouTube. And if you got a topic you want to talk about, something, just email us, and there'll be a post in the link. And we'll look at your videos and talk about the topics.
Or
And
if you at some point want to join us, to be a arbitrary friend, and you can, we'll be able to get that going for you also once we get up and going. So
Absolutely. And yeah, if you just got any general feedback or specific feedback for that matter, that where we can do better, or some things you want to see. I know Keith mentioned various topics, or it could be literally anything. If you want to just even, we're going to try to have some live call-in sessions where you can call in with either questions or even do a live debate about a topic that you may be very passionate about or knowledgeable
mm-hmm.
about. You can definitely be that arbitrary friend. That's just kind of what's going to be a little bit unique about this show. We're going to have our audience kind of dictate a lot of things, as
no,
opposed
there ain't
to,
gonna be no dictating nothing. We
well,
we we have them comment and
well,
they'll have a share into what uh they want to see in the content they want to talk about and see. So but you ain't dictating shit around here.
Not
Make
necessarily
sure you come.
dictate, but I mean they're gonna steer.
they'll steer.
Yeah.
Okay,
They'll steer the
I can go with
conversation.
that word.
They'll steer the conversation.
I can
Yeah,
go with that word.
yeah.
That's good. Yep. So we
Yeah.
look forward to it. Uh, like you said, this is the first episode, so we're just trying to work. We're going to be working out the kinks. A little rough around the edges right now, but we're going to fine tune some things over the next few episodes and get this thing popping. So
Definitely. Definitely. All right. So once again, I am DJ Babyface.
I am DJ Quavo Hakeem Balogun.
Killer Cam.
All right, there it is. And
All right,
once again, this is Arbitrary Friends.
y'all be safe. Stay COVID free. All right, peace.
Peace.